Tov. I'm sorry if I'll need from time to time to move. You see here balagan, and it is every time I learn the perek, I get new insights. So every time I print them, and then I don't know what was first, what was second. So you will excuse me if we have to jump from one place to another, because it all like was built over the last week. We are at the point. We are at the point where David is running after the Amalekites. They just captured these two wives, and the big problem is that they took the children, they took the wives of all his people, 600 people. They came exhausted from Rosh Ain, Afek, where the officers of the Plishtim told Achish, we don't take them to the war. And as I say, they apparently were right. They are going back to Ziklag, and a complete disaster. What they see is that the city is burned down, and all the people in the city were taken by the Amalekim. Instead of sleeping in Ziklag, resting a little bit, they have right away to start chasing Amalekim. And I'll tell you two things. First of all, it was an issue against time. Like, if they would not reach the Amalekim, they are traders. Immediately they will sell all the Nashim, all the Eladim for slaves and forget about it. Then it will be impossible to recover them. Number two, I think it was the amazing wisdom of David. Remember what the Tanakh said. His people wanted to stone him. Remember who were these people? We talked about it a few times. Anashim marei nefesh. Now I will tell you something very important, because when I reread the Perek, there is something very, very important to learn from here. The people who came to David were people that basically left their people. Shaul, we explained, had very high taxes. These people could not pay them. Then revenue Shaul came after them, and they had to find all kinds of ways to continue to live a kind of life. They take their wives, they take their children, and they join David. Because people who are running away from the government, from the governor, they are somehow united. But the problem is that you deal with people who are difficult. So what is the benefit at a certain point that they all have something against Shaul and therefore they are united? Very easily, they can turn against their leader, even if it's a different leader. And in a second, and we cannot blame them obviously, once they realize that David took them to a war according to what they understand, he had a big mistake by taking them to war, not leaving anybody in the city to keep and to guard their children and their wives. Immediately they want to stone them, and it's not exaggeration. They turn their heart against David in a second. What a leader can do in a situation like this, when he faces a rebellion from his own house, from his own people. If you are telling them, let's wait a few hours, let's see what will happen, they will kill him. They cannot take even one more minute. The only way to handle people like this is to give them something to do, to give them a purpose. Ask every teacher here. Sometimes, there is the class is in unrest, like they are nervous, they want to leave the washroom. You can feel it in the air. If the teacher don't give them something to do, to copy from the board, to solve some problems, to write down few sentences, it's gone. The class is gone. If people don't do something, they will just go wild. By the way, this was one of the greatest things that Hashem did in our parsha. Bnei Israel were devastated after Chet HaEgel, after everything that is happened, and you know that according to Chazal, Chet HaEgel happened actually before the Mishkan. People has something to do. You let a nation of slaves in the desert to walk, they have nothing to do. They are a nation of slaves, not simple people. In few weeks, just expects disaster. So doing a Mishkan is kind of therapy, a social therapy too. Of course, I'm not saying that this was the reason why they built the Mishkan. It was for Hashem. But people in the desert, especially when they come with such a background of Yetziat Mitzrayim, all the suffering, some of them lost their children in the Galut, they must do something. And when the entire nation, when the group is working, they don't have so much time to think about rebellion, stoning, being against the leader. So it was very smart from David, although they were extremely tired, right away, before they know what's going on, to go to a war. And the Psukim are telling us not everyone was capable of it. 200 people simply couldn't make it. They were exhausted. As I say, they went one day to Afek, from Tziklag to Rosh Hashanah, something around 100 kilometers. They had to go back, and then they don't have even time to take a shower and to sleep for a few hours. So obviously, when they come to Nachal Absor, they just collapse. They cannot cross the river. And then something unbelievable is happening. And we are again in Pasuk Yud Aleph, Vayimtzeu ish mitzri basade. And that we said last time, the connotation of ish mitzri is always bad, because ish mitzri was the person that killed the Jew and Moshe killed him. But the interesting thing is that there is another time that in Sefer Shmot we find ish mitzri. And this is Moshe Rabbeinu himself. Remember, when the daughters of Yitro are coming back home, they are telling their father, Ish Mitzri hitzilanu miyad haroim. There was an Egyptian man, Ish Mitzri, exactly like here, and he saved us from the roim, the other roim that never let the girls. We are first, and he came and helped us. Which again, Ish Mitzri can be very bad. At the same time, it might be the beginning of redemption. So the words Ish Mitzri raise us to anticipate what direction the story is going to take. Is it going to be the Ish Mitzri who oppressed the people, and therefore there will be a very bad end to this story? Or maybe the Ish Mitzri here is going to be like Moshe the Ish Mitzri, that will be the beginning of redemption. And you know what? It's not something that we have to wait to see how things are going to turn. The beauty of this parak is that David, he determined if he's going to be Ish Mitzri against them, or Ish Mitzri vayatzilenu miyadam. David, by his behavior, by the way he treated this person, who was on the verge of death, he actually brought the redemption. So what happened there? They find, וימצאו איש מצרי בשדה, ויקחו אותו אל דוד, ויתנו לו לחם ויאכל, וישקהו מים. He give him first of all lechem, give him water. He doesn't know anything yet about it. Our, I would say, reflex will be, first of all, interrogate him. Maybe he saw something. This is a person that we can get all the information from him. David, with all the urgency, and in the middle of the chase after Amalek, finds the time to feed him and to give him some water. Not only that, they actually give him even more. ויתנו לו פלח דבלה ושני צימוקים, their own food. By the way, do you remember any story about Pelach Dvela? Let's test your memory, because we learned it last year. Who also gave Dvelim and Tzimukim?
Yaakov.
in our story, in Shmuel. In Yaakov, I'm not sure that there is a word of Dvelim v'Tzimukim. You remember from Shmuel, the story about Dvelim v'Tzimukim? And actually, it's the only book that you find is figs, dry figs and raisins. Where do we find it? Remember the story about Abigail? After Naval did not give them food, she is coming to David and she gives him a much bigger portion, 100 dvelim and 100 tzimukim. Here it's much smaller because it's for one person. But think about the picture. A person who is no one, the people are in the middle of chasing after their enemy to recover, to save their own children and their own family, and they have this Jewish heart to give the no one, someone that they don't know, food. Not only food, even like dessert, figs and raisins. Vayochal, vatashov rucho ilav. It was the first time he could talk, because apparently before that he couldn't even talk. Ki lo achal lechem velo shata mayim 3 yamim u3 leilot. The last shiur I said it's very interesting that David fed him, because David came from Moab. The problem with Moab was that when Bnei Israel came out of Mitzrayim, and remember this is Nahar Mitzri, why Hashem was so upset with Moab and Lamon? Al dvar asher lo kidmu etchem balechem ubamayim. The fact that people who are walking the desert have no water, have no food, and you don't have the heart to give them the basic just to save their life, Hashem does not want a nation like this to be part ever of Klal Israel. Such cruelty, such insensitivity, this is something that cannot be part of the Jewish people. So it's beautiful to see how David, who came from Moab, turns the whole thing upside down. And obviously, who was it that gave him this character of actually giving to a stranger, a complete stranger, lechem v'mayim? It was Ruth Moabiyah. She was the chesed that Ruth Moabiyah did, and she instilled it into the family. And by David, it's just come to unbelievable way how he treat people that are no ones in the desert. Vayomer lo David, lemי אתה? Who are you? Who you belong to? Maybe it's part of the Amalekim. Who knows? Ve'ei מזה אתה? And where are you coming from? ויאמר נער מצרי אנוכי, עבד לאיש עמלקי. I was a slave to איש עמלקי. ויעזבני אדוני כי חליתי היום 3. It's already my third day that I'm sick. So my master threw me here. Now, from the little we know, so what happened here? He's sick for 3 days. What happened, by the way, 3 days before? That's the way I'm going to read the story. What happened 3 days before? Right, the whole story with Tziklag, which means that David left with his people Tziklag 3 days before, as the last parak said, and this person, when they come back after 3 days, they find this person who was left there 3 days before. In other words, when the Amalekim, the Tanakh is telling us basically when Amalekim entered Tziklag. When? Immediately upon David and his people left Tziklag 3 days before. He left him there. It happened 3 days after David left. So we know, and we say here, that this was after they raid all the cities on their border. This was the Amalekim. I'm sure that they were watching. They had few people like the Hezbollah today. They are watching on the hills. They see the people of David leaving town. It didn't take them half an hour. They were inside, burning the town, taking everyone with them. This is the kind of people that Amalekim are. Now, let's imagine a little bit more. Why to throw Eved? Okay, Avadim can be sometimes sick. But why to throw them in the desert? Okay, he's Mitzri though, but why to destroy? He might be valuable. Why is person? Because upon being sick, he left him there with no water, with no food, nothing. Obviously, he expected him to die. There is no. We have to understand. There will be no way for this person to stay alive. If they would come maybe an hour later, it would be too late. So why? Okay, the Amalekim are cruel. Why they do it?
Because they've got a whole new batch.
Exactly. Why do they need someone like this? They have now a whole new batch of people that they just captured in Ziklag. So the guy said to himself, what do I need a sick person? I have like tons of other. What the Nazis did to every Jew that was sick? They killed him right away. Why to spend on medicine or to see a doctor or time or a bed in the bank if there is unlimited amount of new people that can now replace him? We have to understand, these Amalekim, these are the Nazis of the old world. People who have no regard to human life. Nothing. For them it's just a dare to farce, it's the same thing. And therefore, the Amalekim are leaving him there. But the story now starts to develop. And he tells him, Anachnu pashatnu Negev Akriti. The area of the Negev, I don't know exactly where is Negev Akriti, but I assume that it's the southern side of Israel. Ve'al asher li Yehuda, and to the cities of Yehuda that were on the border. Ve'al Negev Kalev. What is Negev Kalev? What do you think is Negev Kalev? Thank you for the water. What?
South of
the area where Caleb was. Remember, Caleb was in the Carmel. It's in the Negev, in the southern side of Yehuda. So Negev Caleb are the cities that were in the county of Caleb. Okay? Ve'et Ziklag sarafnu ba'esh. So he gave him all the information. It was clear that this Na'ar is, although he does not know David and his people, he gave him the exact information. The information is excellent. ויאמר אליו דוד, התורידני אל הגדוד הזה. Would you take me to these people that left you here? ויאמר, the guy had only one concern. ישבע לי באלוהים, I will not go until you swear to me, אם תמיתני, that you are not going to kill me. ואם תסגירני ביד אדוני, and if you are going to give me over to my previous master, because he did not know why David is looking for these Amalekim. If he's looking for them, maybe he's going to trade. Why people should look for Amalekim? I'll tell you why. To buy or to sell Avadim. So he says to him, listen, I will go, but I'm not going back to this kind of life. I had enough. So if you promise me that, I will take you to the Amalekim. And you know what? I highly suspect that this guy could not imagine that David is going to conduct a war after the Amalekim.
No.
What?
He came with 400 men. David, there were fighters that were with him.
I will tell you that fighters never treated another person the way David and his people treated this guy. Because remember, they fed him before they interrogated him. You might say after he gave them such valuable information, then they thanked him by feeding him. It was the opposite. So he was not sure why they are going to fight Amalek. Why did he ask him, don't give me back to my master? That means that he did not suspect that they are going to kill him. Maybe the way they looked, remember, after 3 days of walk, and tired and exhausted. So the way I read the story, I might be wrong, but the way I read the story, he did not think that David is looking for the Amalekite to kill them. Because he was afraid. If he knows that he's going to kill them, he would say, yeah, let's go, let's kill them. And he should not be afraid that he will give him back to the Amalekim. But I will tell you two things that I can learn from here. Why he would be afraid that David will kill him, and or David will give him back to his master. Why? Because that's the environment that he grew into. When you live enough time among the Amalekim, you adopt the standards that the people around you have. And he knows that Avadim, in his culture, in his previous culture, are nothing. So the moment you can get rid of them, you get rid of them. The moment you can make some bucks and sell them to someone else, you do it. Their life is nothing. See what happened to him. The guy was just saved from sure death. And think about David. What David is telling him? David is asking him, "Atorideni el הגדוד הזה." What would you tell him? Let's say that you are, in the army, in Tzahal, you have people of the Shabak. For every unit, especially when you come close to people that are dealing with the Arabs, you have few Shabakniks. Do you see Fauda? I just hear about Fauda. I didn't see all the chapters, but I'm sure that they have these people of Shabak that are talking fluent Arabic with the people that are there. Now, if you find someone that can lead you to a ticking bomb or to a person who kidnapped someone, what are you telling him? Please do me a favor, maybe you will be nice, kind to me and help me to get to the Amalekim. You just put a pistol in his next to his head and say, if in 3 seconds you don't show me exactly where they are, your life are nothing. See how David is talking to him. Hatorideni, please, would you, please do me a favor, I need to know where they are. Why is he talking so nice to him?
On another level completely was this gentleman, this guy who'd been without food and everything. He wasn't a sort of spiritual being or there for a purpose.
He was not. The guy was Nar Mitzri. What did he know? He knew nothing. He just wanted to save his life.
Yes, but maybe he'd been put there for a purpose.
For what? What could be a reason? He said he was sick.
Maybe Hashem had arranged this. Maybe this
of course.
Completely
When of course that you're right. When we read the Perek, we are amazed how Hashem arranged it because everything just fall into place. You are 100% right. But you see, this is when we read the Perek after everything happened. But think about David and his people, and they were not waiting miracles. The miracles happened because they treat this person nicely. Because at the same time, I'm sure that some people say to David, "Get rid of him. We don't need him. This guy is nothing. Let's just go and try to find our families." Yeah.
But David, as a melech, has compassion, as a judge, and as the divider of punishment or good.
So listen to this. Please don't kill my class in the beginning. We are just in the beginning. But it's one of the major ideas that I want to speak about. What is the place of this Perek in the whole context of the story of Shaul and so on? And your point is going to be highly emphasized in few minutes. Just give me the time.
So that's exactly, exactly. He did it.
That's it. You killed my class already. Yes.
Exactly. No, he did it. He did it with Shaul. Exactly. He could have killed him, but instead he talked to him. And this is his. This is his way.
Yeah, same way as he fed
No,
him.
You can say, "Oh,
I want you to. No. I was thinking he beat me to.
I see. Okay. Yeah, this is the
You're dealing with
idea.
adults. You're not dealing
Okay.
with.
I'll take the credit that I led you to
Right.
this. Yes.
Absolutely.
I just want to say two things. One is that in the same way that he fed him first, he asked him. That was David, and that's like you were saying, the difference between the someone else, other people, and David, not as a Jew, not necessarily even as a king. But that's one thing. The other thing is that's sort of interesting the way the fellow says swear by God. Like who is it that he says swear by? Is it, a slave?
It's very true, but you can see how worried he was about it. Like he would not take it until he hear that he swear by God. He was completely terrified. And you can see that maybe he would prefer to stay there and to die rather than to go back to the person he would belong to. We can hear his fear and concern.
I can understand your logic for the Ish Mitzri.
Mm-hmm.
He's a slave. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with your logic for David. Why can't you say this is just strategic? There's this guy in the middle of nowhere, likely he either saw someone or didn't see something, and David is just saying,
You
what am I
might.
gonna-" and we're talking about giving him a little bit to eat with 10 minutes. I think this could just be easily just being a strategic on David. I'm not taking away from David, but I'm saying I think this is just a strategic move as well.
So I'll tell you, I thought about it. It might be right, but I'll tell you what, I compare me, a normal person, to what David did. I ask myself, let's say that I have a unit with soldiers with me, and we are walking to think this is the area. This is, by the way, the same area that the 3 boys were kidnapped 3 years ago, remember? It's Negev Akriti, Negev Amaleki. You talk here with people with no morals, the lowest of human being. That's the same area. And I would say, if I would find an Arab guy who I would suspect that you say that he knows something or asks something, I would use the situation where he's thirsty and hungry against him. And I say, if you want to eat something, you tell me where they are. I would use his hunger and his thirst against him. I would not first feed him and then we'll give him enough time. You know what? Things are fantastic. This guy is so nice. I don't have to tell him anything. And you know what? That's exactly the problem that we have with our wonderful fellows that we feed in hotels that call prison, but they get university for free. So why should they cooperate? Why? Their families, as long as they are in the prison, they get like nice funds from the Rashut Palestinite. Israel don't do anything dramatic to them. They get like nice, some of them I'm sure get better condition that they have in their own house. So why should they cooperate with the Israelis?
Because it worked. This case situation, it worked.
I sort of tend to agree with him, especially I think because they specify here, Pelach Dvela, just a little bit they gave, Shnei Tzimukim, just a little bit. So just to entice him to we'll be nice to you, you'll be nice to us. We'll get information from him in a nice way.
2 clusters, that sounds like a lot of raisins.
Well, Shnei Tzimukim, maybe
Yeah,
it's 2 raisins.
Yeah, you might be right. Listen,
That's right. So,
I feel that if I would be really like an officer in a situation like this, I would not do what David did. And I can understand why his people were frustrated with him, because he's dealing with human rights instead of saving his own family. That's the reality. Why are we sometimes so upset that we are like, oh, the human rights and the UN? Who cares about the UN? It's our soldiers, it's our people. And that's why his people are so upset with him. Why do you think about the entire world and don't think about your people, your family? And David, on the contrary, that's the way I want to read it maybe, is a person of morals. You find a person in the desert, you don't leave him there. And by the way, the beauty of the story is very simple. The Amalekim, who actually were so cruel to this person, and they thought, why do we need him? We need him for nothing. They lost in few psukim because of that. And David, who behaved against, I would say, the reflex of a warrior, and saved this person, because of his kindness, he saved his family. So the Tanakh is telling us sometimes that actually what we think is going to work better for us or against us is exactly the opposite. As long as you do the right moral decision, it will work for you. Yes.
remember, you were a slave in Egypt.
Nachon, it's part of the issue. And therefore, I think it's important to highlight the fact that he was Nar Mitzri. Because we could say, you are Nar Mitzri, now it's a time to, like, we are so upset anyway, so Nar Mitzri, we remember this Nari Mitzri, now we are going to get you, take your bullet in the head and that's it, and we will continue. David is not doing it. Exactly, he behaved exactly the opposite, and we are going to speak about it in a second. Yes?
It seems to me that this Mitzri sees that these are very different people than the people he's used to dealing with, because he asks them to swear that they won't put him to death and won't deliver him. And normally, I think this guy would realize that people can swear whatever, of course. And of course, that they won't follow through. Yeah, of course we swear. But the fact that he even asks me, he knows that these are different type of people. He can actually trust their word.
That's a point. By the way, the question is, the Mefarshim, I don't know why they are arguing over it. David swear to him or not? It doesn't say.
No.
Not yet.
It's not clear. It might be that the Jews say, David said, just, I don't want to hear you. Just tell me where they are. Or it might be that, of course, he asked him to do shvuah, so he did the shvuah. Maybe. Anyway, he is going to find the people. Okay. This will be here. You must stop me at 8 o'clock because I just half an hour before this shiur I got a new insight into the whole story. So and I want to share it with you. I cannot keep it in my stomach. Okay. So in Pasuk Tet Zayin, Vayoridu, so he came with them. והנה נטושים על פני כל הארץ. They are all over. אוכלים ושותים וחוגגים בכל השלל הגדול אשר לקחו מארץ פלישתים ומארץ יהודה. By the way, I want to tell you something. You know, one of the excellent skills that these nomads have is to find the right places away from the eye of the government, from the main roads. So you really need, and you can see, like, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, you read all the people of Bin Laden. It's 3 years take them to find Bin Laden. Or take Sinai, where the ISIS is. One of their expertise of these people who are living in these areas is to find this hiding place that no one can get there. That's why it was so important. And you're right, Hashem send these people, this person, to help David HaMelech to find them, because otherwise he will not find them. These people are experts. They know where the caves are, where the hidden valleys are, where people that is very hard to find the passage into the empty area. So he took them there, and David see the most fascinating sight. The people are netushim al pnei kol haaretz. What does it mean?
They're confident.
They are confident, they are ochlim veshotim vechogegim. Just take a picture here, okay? Take a picture. Of all the people, they're like all over. They are not careful to be like, if you remember, in our age, hopefully we still remember, like the Wild West movies, when the wagons are coming, what are they doing at night time? They circle, because if you are circle and you are together, you have a better chance to fight the Indians or whatever. Today you can take. You have a better way. You have a better way to protect yourself. But if you are not afraid of anything, then you are all over. Ochlim veshotim vechogegim vesmeichim. They are so confident, and remember, in their mind, David went with Achish to fight Shaul. They know that, to go from Afek to Israel, and to come back, they have a week, no father, no mother, just to celebrate at home, like no one is going to ask us any question. And that's exactly what they are doing. They are happy. They cannot imagine that David is after them. So,
Did they go back to their normal camps? Are they on
The
their way back?
Amalekim,
Yeah, the
I can assure you 100% that if David would not be there in 24 hours, all the people will be sold. To Mitzrayim, to the people who are going to India. This is the main road from Egypt to India. So everything on the road will benefit from the people that they capture. They will make their bucks, and most likely will move now to another place, maybe to the Gilboa in these places, because we are going to see when we will learn Shmuel Bet, that they indeed arrived there too. Because after every war, these were the vultures that try to get the benefit and to prosper from wars and from the misery of others. So they are celebrating, and I'm sure that David see that, and they are excited because they first understood that they still have all the people with them, and it's going to be quite easy to defeat them. That's very important. They are not organized. They are not in a camp. It's going to be easy prey. Vayakem, and by the way, you see that the Amalekim, in this case at least, were not just anti-Semites. They took from everyone they could take. לקחו מארץ פלישתים, לקחו מארץ יהודה. Everyone who has some money, has some property, they took from פלישתים and from the Jews alike. ויקם דוד מהנשף ועד הערב למחרתם. The entire night, they apparently tried to find some hide in darkness, but David for a whole night, and remember, they were quite tired at the time, until the day later, ולא נמלט מהם איש, כי אם 400 איש נער, אשר רכבו על הגמלים וינוסו. Which is very strange. What the Tanakh is telling us here, no one left, except for 400 people that left, on the camels. Well, what does that mean? We are going to discuss it maybe the next time, or if we will have time today, let's see. There is a beautiful insight of Chachamim here about the word Vayakem kol neshef, all the night. Neshef in Hebrew is night. Today, neshef in modern Hebrew is actually prom. The prom is a neshef because it's usually the prom like people doing in graduation, like prom. Yeah. So it's called neshef, but really in real Hebrew it means night. So because it was somehow someone who decided that neshef is going to be prom. It's something that is like happening all night or something like this, and they apparently took it from here. And it was really like a party of David at this time. Ad lemochorotam, until the day later. So Chachamim had such a beautiful insight. They say the Navi highlights the word lemochorotam, until tomorrow. Because if you remember, the first war of Moshe and Yoshua against Amalek, when they attacked them in the desert, what Moshe said to Yoshua, צא ובחר לנו אנשים, find people who are capable of fighting Amalek, and tomorrow me and Aaron and Chur למחר אני ניצב על הר האלוהים. I'm going to be tomorrow on the mountain watching the area and praying for you. It was not the same day, למחר, like the milchama here. When Esther, that we are going to read about in a few weeks, what few weeks? It's almost 2 weeks, is fighting Haman, who came from Amalek. What does she say to Achashverosh when he invite her when she invite him for the first party? למחר. Come tomorrow. יבוא המלך והמן מחר אל המשתה אשר אעשה להם. So Chachamim said the war against Amalek is for tomorrow. Is not for today. All the wars of Amalek are the next day. So I saw a beautiful Perush of Rav Kook. Why is it so? Why indeed Moshe was waiting one day until tomorrow? Why here he had to fight them until the next day? Why Esther was waiting to the next day. So he says, there are wars and there are wars. There are wars that you have a problem, you have to solve it, you do it right away. You don't wait. The more you wait, the more you are likely to lose. The war against Amalek is the eternal one. It's not for now. It's not just to save people. It's not just to fight a certain nation. It's a war of God against all the evil side of human beings. מלחמה להשם בעמלק מדור דור. Every generation has its own nations and people who are evil. So in order to show that this is not a regular war that just come to relieve the stress, it's something eternal, Moshe and Esther and David, they say, you should know. This is a war that can wait one day, because anyway we are going to fight it forever. And therefore always we find the idea of machar in all the wars against Amalek, to show that we are not rushing. We know that this war is going to end only in a very late time, unfortunately, because evil people, evil nation will exist, unfortunately, until the final redemption. I found it incredible idea. Okay. So what happened now? I think that I will not be able to talk about the other issue, but it's so beautiful. We will wait until next week. It's really like, I find it really incredible. ויצל דוד את כל אשר לקחו עמלק ואת שתי נשיו הציל דוד. So first of all the property that Amalek took, he saved, he got back, and his two wives. Now you can understand what Hashem said, רדוף והצל תציל. What is והצל תציל? Now we understand from this pasuk, because indeed it says twice, ויצל, the property, but this was not that important. The importance was like the family, the wives, the children, and also on top of the money and the property, he obviously saved all the people who were captives of Amalek. ולא נעדר להם. No one was missing. מן הקטון ועד הגדול. From the little one to the older one. ועד בנים ובנות ומשלל. Nothing was missing. ועד כל אשר לקחו להם. Everything that they took. הכל השיב דוד. Everything. Which is incredible. And by the way, I think that this is the point. Because they were not like in rush, because they thought that maximum it will take them few more days, 4 or 5 days until they will arrive, then they have all the time. They did not sell them right away. That's why I think the pasuk is highlighting the fact that no one was missing, because normally these people, like thieves don't keep anything for more than few hours. They have their channels where to sell the silverware, the goldware, all the things. Immediately they cannot keep it in their house before the police is coming and making their raids. When they come, nothing is there anymore. So they sell it for pennies, but at the same time they get rid of everything very quickly. So this was amazing. The time passed by, it's already 3-4 days and nothing was missing. Why? Because there was no rush. They were not afraid that someone will find them there and will fight them there. So again, this is again something that Hashem organized with, that we can understand now. How Hashem organized the save of the families of David and his warriors. ויקח דוד את כל הצאן והבקר נהגו לפני המקנה ההוא ויאמרו זה שלל דוד. Now this is interesting. So they took all the animals, they took all the cattle. Well, Shaul was punished for this, no? Shaul was punished for taking part of the cattle and the sheep. Why David was not punished for this? Actually, he was
told
praised.
to kill everyone.
What?
Shaul was told to kill everyone, and he didn't. David wasn't told to
It was
go
their
in.
own
He
cattle.
said, well, I succeeded, yeah, I
Aha,
succeeded.
okay, well, I'm going to talk about it.
It was their own cattle that they were taking.
Exactly. So there are two reasons. The Radak say what you say, that Shaul was commanded by Shmuel not to touch everything of Amalek. Why? Because the war against Amalek by Shaul was a national war. In a national war, the war of Hashem, you have to keep the highest standard. You show that it's not about the money and the prospering from the world. You show that it's for Hashem. You don't touch anything. Here, it was not a war, a national war. The Radak say this was a war of a city, people that were affected by the Amaleki. And you can see that the war was not Amalek versus Israel. It was Amalekim as a band of gangsters who took from other nations as well. So this was a private war, and therefore there was no mitzvah at the time of Shaul. The other idea was your idea?
That what they took
Yeah,
were their own
exactly.
cattle.
Here they just returned their own property. It was not like the Amaleki. It was their own property, although we can suspect that maybe the thing that Amalekim had at the time of Shaul was also from other people. I don't know.
Plus, before said that they.
But I saw this one
Plus,
too.
before said they captured everything that the police. I'm sorry, Amalek took from Plishtim and from Yehuda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was
This
not
is a-
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. ויקח דוד את כל הצאן והבקר, נהגו לפני המקנהו, so apparently like huge amount of sheep and cattle and animals. ויאמרו, זה שלל דוד. So the people, the 400 people who went with David, they were now excited. First of all, they got back their families, number one. Number two, actually from distress, me'evel le'yom tov, from like being afraid for the fate of their wives and children, first of all, they got them back. Not only that, they became rich. Unbelievable. ויאמרו, זה שלל דוד. This is the shalal of David. What is the problem here? By saying so, religiously, you can see that these people missed the point here. They did not see what you saw. They did not see that everything was organized. This was against the odds. To save their people, to save the money, to defeat Amalek in such a way. It cannot be done by human beings. It's not just sheer luck. No, it was everything done by Hashem. So when they saw the shalal, all the goods, they said, it's David did. And we are going to see that David resisted this idea. It's my victory. Are you kidding me? David knew exactly by Tchazek David be'elokav, it's everything from Hashem. Now, their approach was very problematic, as we are going to see. Vayavo David el 200 האנשים. David now is going back to the 200 people that were stay behind. Now, let's stop here. What do you think these people felt about themselves? The 200 people who could not cross the river, they stay behind, they missed all the fun of like seeing the Amalekim and taking everything. What did they think in their heart?
Badly about themselves, no?
Yeah, exactly. We are such losers. Wow. I'm sure that they said, wow, we just had few more steps, we would make it, we are such losers. Terrible feeling about themselves. ויצאו לקראת דוד ולקראת העם אשר איתו, and I'm sure that they went like